Hey guys, Dan here for BladeReviews.com, coming at you with another knife review, something a little different. I've got the knife sitting right out in front of you, but you can't see it because it is a credit card knife. So, kind of interesting. Let's take a closer look. I figured I'd sort of open the video up with just a demonstration. And so, you're reaching in your wallet, you're opening it up, you're looking, you got your credit cards, you got your AAA card, and then you got your knife. So here we have an Iain Sinclair Cardsharp 2. And before I get too far into this at all, I just want to say that first of all, I was provided this credit card knife free of charge by the folks at Iain Sinclair. They contacted me and asked if I would be interested in reviewing it. And I said yes, I would be, because it was a knife and I review knives. So, I got it for free. So with that out of the way, I want to say also that I really haven't had a chance to use this too much. I've carried it for about a week. During that time period, I have used it. I've actually pulled it out for use exactly 0 times. I've never ever actually had the chance to use it because I'm typically carrying like a regular knife. So this review is not going to be particularly good, but I think it'll still be useful. So that's why I'm going to do it now, because I know people are interested in this knife now, and we'll just probably have to follow up with a second review or something after I've really carried it a little bit longer. So let me show you how it works, because I'm sure people are interested. It's got this little safety lock on here, and you move this with your thumb until the green is completely covered, and then the knife pops open and you fold it up. You got 2 tabs here, and you fold it up and it just kind of goes in place. And then here's the fully assembled knife, and the body of it, the handle, is plastic, and then the blade is some sort of surgical stainless steel. Let's do some very quick specs, since I think the specs on this are pretty interesting. You've got, of course, the overall dimensions are about the same as a credit card. In terms of just the length and the width. The thickness on this is 2 millimeters. So that is the same thickness as about the same as 2 credit cards stacked on top of each other. Weight on this is 13 grams, which is 0.45 ounces. So it's very light. It's pretty much as light as it gets for a pocket knife of any kind. So that's cool. So the dimensions are quite petite. And the blade is 76 millimeters. So, and that works out to be just under 3 inches. It's like literally 2.99 inches long. So it is legal pretty much everywhere in the world. I know Iain Sinclair is a company out of the UK, and so targeting that international audience was incredibly important for them. And so it makes sense that they made it under 3 inches. Let's take a closer look at the blade here. And like I said, we don't know what the steel is, and we do know that this has been coated. It's been given a Teflon coating, a black Teflon coating, and you'll see here, it's got a secondary bevel, which has been covered by the Teflon coating. So they ground the blade and then they coated it, which is kind of interesting. And I'll show you why. Let me get a piece of paper out and we'll do ourselves a little cut test. Something I typically don't do in my reviews, but for this one I thought it was kind of important. So we're going to test the out-of-box sharpness. I literally have not cut anything with this except for a couple other sheets of paper. So got our knife. And that's pretty ugly. I'm really just forcing it through the paper. It's not actually cutting anything. And there, it's really not cutting. So you can see performance out of the box is not so good with this coated blade. The tip is sharp, or it's fairly sharp at least, until you start to get into the actual blade, and then it kind of binds up. But all right, so yeah, it's not that sharp. And I believe the reason is because they coated the blade after they ground it and put that, after they ground and sharpened it. So what they needed to do was coat it first and then sharpen it, or sharpen it, coat it, and then sharpen it some more or something. But I think that this may be because I've got one of the first knives. I know they don't have a lot of these out yet. I know there's a lot of interest in this, which is the reason why I'm kind of rushing this review out the door. And so who's to say? This could just be an anomaly. This could be one of my, one of their very first knives, and they're still working on the kinks. Although this is the Cardsharp 2, so I would think that they, I don't know. So we got that. So we got the blade that isn't that sharp. Not a huge deal for me, but because I can just take this to my sharp maker, or I guess it would primarily be my sharp maker, and just sharpen this thing up. But for their target audience, which is really going to be people who probably aren't that into knives, and we'll discuss this more later, but for their target audience, they're probably not going to be doing a lot of sharpening on this, so it should come, a little sharper than this. This really just isn't sharp at all. So kind of a bummer, not a deal breaker for me, but definitely worth noting, since it is a knife and it should cut, first of all. The handle, it's a folded up piece of plastic. It's not particularly sturdy, but that's okay. I think that's to be expected, provided that you're expecting this to be a plastic handle. I showed this to my buddy, and he was under the impression that this was going to be like an aluminum handle or something, some sort of metal, and he was pretty disappointed to see that this was actually plastic. I don't know what everybody's expectations were, but this is in fact plastic, and it's fairly flimsy. You've got this little snap. You can see that's what kind of holds it in place, and you got a lot of blade play here. But that's, if you hold it together like this, though, then you don't have any. So, I just don't really know what to expect. I don't review a lot of credit card knives, so if you compare it to a real knife, it's just not that good. But let's be real here. This is a credit card knife. It's ½ an ounce. It's designed to go in your wallet. You can't expect it to lock up like a Strider SNG or something. So yeah, we'll take that with a grain of salt. The lockup is what it is. It's not that good. But again, this is like just a last ditch knife, I think, and we'll talk about that. I keep on putting off the philosophy, and I've pretty much gone through everything I want to say about the knife. So let's talk about what we might use this for. And I really think that this is just an absolute backup. For someone like myself, I carry a knife every day, and the only reason why I would use this is if I ran out of the house, forgot my knife for some reason, and had my wallet on me, and needed to cut something, and I just pull out my wallet and have this little knife. And in that case, I think it would be kind of handy. But if you want to get real technical, I would just have to wonder how often that would be, and if it would really be worth the real estate in my wallet, because that's an extra 2 credit cards, it's an extra ½ an ounce. That's kind of a fairly complicated analysis that I think is outside the bounds of this particular video. But the other thing is, so in addition to being like a absolute last ditch backup knife for utility work, it could be handy for people who just simply aren't that into knives, and they don't want to carry a knife every day, but they still want to have something on them that's sharp for those rare cases where they would actually need a knife. Because some people just aren't into the whole knife thing, and they don't find carrying a knife every day to be something that they want to do. And so maybe this is a knife for them. That's the other thing, because it really is something that I don't think I'd want to whip out all the time every single day, because it's kind of a pain. You gotta take it out, you gotta unlock it, you gotta fold it up. Let's face it, it's not as convenient as say just carrying something like this with you, and flipping that out. There, you got your knife. You don't have to fold it or anything like that. So it's totally different. So the philosophy on this thing is a little weird. It's something that I don't fully appreciate. So this review isn't fully complete. On one hand, if I'm looking at it on if I'm comparing it to something like a real knife, this thing sucks. But if I'm just comparing it to no knife at all, or an absolute backup blade or something, then it seems legit to me. I can't say I've reviewed a lot of these, so it's kind of difficult to weigh it against other ones. I'd be really curious to get some other opinions on this, since there haven't been a lot yet, and I'd be especially interested in the opinions of the people in the YouTube knife community, because I think that this is a knife that's going to get some attention outside of the core community of cutlery enthusiasts, and I'd love to get some seasoned veterans and get their opinions on this. as well as opinions from lay people too. So I mean, if you're somebody who's just casually looking this knife up on YouTube, and this is a video that you happen to watch, I'm interested in your opinion too. I'm pretty much interested in everybody's opinion. What do you guys think of this? Because I'm kind of 50-50 on it. So, and until I collect more data, until I use it more, it's gonna probably stay that way. So, kind of a long review that wasn't even really a review. So I really appreciate everybody who watched and stuck through it all. Let me know what you think. I'm really serious about that. I'm very curious. And thank you so much for watching. Okay, everybody, take care.